this everyday like minutia where we just, our minds get filled with all of this just absolute nonsense that means nothing, and I mentioned before, like I even like part of me wants to believe that maybe Russia wants to do something good, that they are actually trying to move in the right direction. You can have banking, but do you have to have usury? Do you have to have usury? Okay. So Russia is going into the BRICS, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, I want to say, what is it, like India, South Africa, China, right? South Africa, China, maybe India, Russia, and Brazil, where they're trying to create another currency. So I don't know if these things are happening because this is good, trying to remove itself from, the dollar, trying to remove, because when the dollar dies, America is going to drop down. Okay. And maybe that's the goal. Like, I don't know whether these, when we see, largely we know when, just by understanding the deception, if your mind's working at half speed, you can tell that there's something wrong. And you can see that all of these things are just not making sense. Okay. So you got your 9/11. Just recently, Jon Stewart, the comedian, the fake news guy that, the Daily Show, went to Congress and said, how come these people after 19 years are not getting the support that they need? Never forget, right? That's the system said, never forget this, never forget these people. These people are the heroes. And then yet they're riddled with disease because whatever was in those buildings when they disintegrated, when they collapsed by design. So we sit there and we look at that and they say they're not even taking how can we even take this system seriously anymore when they're not taking care of people that the system lifted up and said these people, and so there's one guy there who couldn't even, he was like, he was so sick that he barely made it there. And then it was just, it's another tragedy, but then do they even realize that they've been lied to about the whole thing, which would double and triple the pain, right? And then Stewart's was being interviewed that same day and said, after we deal with this, then we're going to deal with the burn pits. Most American people don't even know what the burn pits are. Is over in Iraq, they take all this chemical, biological weapon, all these like rubber tires and all this stuff, and then they throw them in the sand. They throw them into a pile. They set it on fire, and the chemicals that mix together are breathed in, inhaled by the troops over there. This is how much they care about the troops. Okay, this is how much they care about the troops. They breathe it in, they come back, and they get throat cancer, head and neck cancer, all this other stuff. Okay, and these are the things that I see when I watch Russian news or RT documentaries, where they talk about the burn pits and they talk about the things that are going on. Now, it could just be like stoking the fire for World War III. I don't know. I want to believe that there's some force for good out there. I just don't feel that. That's going to happen. It's too late in the game. People that don't understand what's going on. They don't understand. They couldn't possibly understand what Professor Truth, the wisdom that he puts out there, that he propagates and conveys to anybody who will listen and try to understand. We have. Scientists may have crossed the ethical line in growing human brains. I mean, all you have to do is look at the headlines, and that something is being set up. Like this week, I heard it, and it was propaganda, and it clicked with me oh, it turns out that the antibiotic resistant superbugs are killing at least twice the amount that they thought of before. And now what do they have? They also have an Ebola vaccine that is just finishing through its process. Everybody needs to get it. Everybody wants to get it. Okay. This is scary stuff, people. If you don't find the source, if you don't find source, I mean, I don't know. I look at it every day and I see the greed. The people that I've worked with in the past, companies that I've worked for, I just look at people and I see that what drives them is unnatural. We live in an unnatural world. Everything about nature is being destroyed. This entire week, I look up at the sky and I see nature being absolutely destroyed by geoengineering, man-made clouds of filth and degeneracy and things that are absolutely infiltrating our bodies and creating an imbalance in our brains and in our bodies. And the phones are probably exacerbating that. Those phones are probably exacerbating the chemicals and the metals or things that are in there. I mean, I can't even imagine anybody that could look up into the sky and see what's happening up there. It infuriates me. I can't believe there's not more people looking up and saying, what is happening up there? What is happening in the sky? That is not normal. Lionel, this guy who does he's on RT quite a bit. He's like a lawyer. He connected. What happened was at one point he connected with InfoWars, and then they kind of propelled him up so people know. And he's kind of like a Joe Pesci type character. So he's kind of likable, and he starts pointing out a lot of stuff. But he also gets involved in the left-right paradigm. But he posted something on Twitter saying, "What is this in the sky?" Pointing out, like, what is this? What is it? And I wrote back, I said, it's chemical biological weapons. It's biological in your sky being put in there on purpose. On purpose. It's hurting you. It's hurting your family. It's hurting your children. It's hurting everyone. But nobody has the mental capacity to look up and say, there's something wrong with this. And if Trump is so fighting the New World Order and all of these different organizations that are hurting people, why is he not saying anything? I'm not like a super fan of Roger Stone, if anybody knows who Roger Stone is, but he was found guilty on all these accounts. He's 67. He's going to go to jail for like 50 years. Is Trump going to pardon him? Is Trump going to pardon him? Now, these aren't things that are like super important to me, but, there was no collusion. There was no, through Mueller, there was no collusion. The Democrats they lost their minds. Now, Roger Stone is going to go, and Trump's got the power to pardon him. I hope he does. I don't think Roger Stone's an awful guy. He's just another, I'm not going to say a victim, because these people, there's no victims, just volunteers, right? We're here for a reason. We were put here. Our memories wiped. So we're sinners. We're all sinners. How do we fix this? I don't know. Like when, and I just sit there and I'm like, are we living? Or are we just surviving? We're in survival mode. We're not living. These people that think that they have lives, Professor Truth, his life is dedicated to God. It's dedicated to Jesus. I've gotten to a point in my life where I feel as though I need to do more of this. If we act and we do things in a loving way, if we do what Jesus would do, then that's a thing now where everybody's like, what would Jesus do? Well, he wouldn't put cancer viruses in vaccines. He wouldn't even make vaccines. He'd just put his hands on you and heal you. All this man-made stuff, it's all a fiction. Everything. And I hope he comes back soon. And if I've sinned enough where I'm going to be banished and horrible things are going to happen to me, I'm a sinner. I deserve it. But I want to do the right thing, and I think that's why I'm here. I want to speak truth. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to know what the truth is. Nobody wants to know that Children's Hospital is riddled with sick children because they were injected with viruses and death to give them cancer and leukemia and all these other things. Nobody wants to believe it. So nothing's going to change. There's no way that's happening. No way. No way America would allow that to happen. The American people won't stand for this. Guess what? The American people have bowed down to the devil, to Lucifer, and they're not going to stand for anything. They're going to lay down for all of it. They're going to lay down, and they're going to take it. And when the time is right, again, when Judgment Day comes, and I stand before God, Creator, Jesus, and I will say, I will weep and ask for forgiveness. I know in my heart that I'm a good person. I know that I wouldn't hurt anybody. That's why I can't even believe myself that this is happening. I can't even believe myself that these things are taking place. I see Professor Truth once a year, and we sit there and we talk about things that most people would shake their heads and think that we're the crazy ones, that we're crazy, but we're not. We're the normal ones. Large portions of everyone else have lost their connection to anything, and they're just like Professor Truth says, they're just vassals that are walking around, most likely inhabited by some third three-dimensional demon or something that they have no idea. They're psychic vampires. You look at the way people behave. I watch society. I look at them and I'm like, these are godless people. Like, I don't want to be that. I don't think I am that, but I don't want to be that. I look at people and they're empty. Their conversations are empty and worthless and nothing. They walk around with their phones in their hand all the time. Phones in their hand. If I see somebody who's not walking around with a phone, I want to walk up to them and say, thank you. Thank you. I couldn't help but notice that you don't have your phone in your hand. Is there a reason for that? And they'll be like, well, I didn't need to have it in my hand. And I'll be like, well, that's strange because there's a whole lot of people here that never want to put their phone down. And they're not even expecting a call. They just can't stop. They can't stop themselves. They're locked in. They're locked into the Luciferian plan where they just worship artificial. They worship fiction. Now, there's a lot of stuff about our world, like this technology. I know, I got onto this podcast and I was playing my guitar through the system, and Professor Truth was hearing my guitar, and that's one of my passions that I like to play. I use this technology for certain things, and it's fun. And technology could be used to really, really propel us into a utopia of love and caring for people. Maybe was not ever the plan. But it's being used to hurt people. It's being used to really, really damage us in ways that apparently are just irreparable at this point. And I hate to sound so dire, but I've been aware of this stuff now for like 15 years, 15 years, where I couldn't even believe it. The first time I looked up and I realized that that's unnatural. That's not normal. And then I look it up online and I'm like, I find out that it's not. Geoengineering Watch, Clifford Carnicom Institute, where for years he's been taking rain samples after a heavy spraying, gets the sample and tries to take it somewhere, tries to take it to some organization, government organization or health organization and say, hey, look at this. He didn't have the equipment. He didn't have the electron microscope or the type of hardware that you could see what's going on in there. And he couldn't get it done. Nobody would do it. So when he's in Mexico this year over the summer at one of the conferences where people are talking about geoengineering and talking about a number of different topics that you're never going to hear on the nightly news. You're never going to hear it. He's begging with people. He's like, I can't do this on my own anymore. We need to figure out what's going on. And, I've interviewed Elena Freeland, who has done extensive research on geoengineering and HARP and all of these other different technologies. Again, that could, HARP. If that was created, I believe it was truly created because they knew that they could steer a storm into or exacerbate a storm that would go along with the climate change, the storms that are, they're stronger than they were before. They're windier than they were before. They're deadlier than they were before. And everybody believes that climate change is real, but they don't know about HARP. Dr. Nick Begich. I don't know if Professor Truth is familiar with Nick Begich, but this guy's been studying all this stuff for a long time. He's been studying HARP. And technology was when the system started looking at the body, looking at the immune system and looking at all these other different things. These organizations were not looking at it to make it better. They were not looking at the immune system to improve upon it. You cannot improve upon God's design. Our immune systems are a miracle. We are not evolution. We are a design. We are one of the greatest designs that we'll never know whether there's a better version of us. I won't know. Maybe Professor Truth can add to that. But we are being hurt. We are being destroyed. They are cloning. They're going places where they should never have gone under the umbrella of research for humanity. And then we get sold all these lies and all this garbage, pen medicine, all this stuff, fighting cancer, one this at a time, one of that. They're not fighting cancer. They know what it is because they figured out how to create it. And that was hijacking the human immune system, injecting the body with things that are similar to what the body has. They can find things that are similar to what the body has. And that reaction, the red spot on your arm, that reaction is your body reacting to this foreign element. And what it does is it not only does it attack that element, but it also attacks your own body, because whatever was put inside of you has a molecular chemical structure, so that not only does it attack that, but it attacks your body. Autoimmune disease is created by injecting poisons and materials into the body. People are getting dementia at incredible rates. The reason why is because they inject infectious proteins, infectious animal proteins into your body that are not supposed to be there. Your immune system is proteins that surround your cells to stop them from being infected and stop them from your body from dying from whatever this is. It's an army that goes in that surrounds these deadly, whatever it is. And I'm convinced that there's nothing out there naturally that could really, really kind of kill us because our immune systems are that advanced. The only thing that could really, really kill us en masse is if we allow some doctor or some fictional organization that says it's there because they love you and your family and they want your money, that they can inject this into your body to keep you safe. And there alone. So what is it? What do you, a parable, a wise man would say, what is this that you're shooting into my arm? A fool, a gosh darn fool would say, how, just stick it. I can't pull my sleeve up. Just stick it right into my arm because I'm so afraid of what you told me. Just stick it into my eye. I don't care as long as I get what's in there to keep me from getting this disease. Meanwhile, a week later, a year later, 10 years later, I'm dead because I gave my faith and my confidence into a system of death that was created to kill, to create more disease. Just like the United Nations was put in place not to stop wars, but to create more. You notice they don't ever do anything about that little country over in the Middle East. They can do whatever they want. Take this, take that. Pac-Man, chump, 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 chump. Another settlement, another settlement, another settlement. Nobody ever says anything. Oh, that's wrong. What are you doing? Oh, yeah. You got to stop doing that. But we're not going to really enforce any of it. You got to stop sniping little kids and blowing the brains out of the back of their heads. But we're not really going to enforce anything. Sickening, man. It's an abomination. God help us. God help us. Pressure truth.
Well, Drew, what a amazing anointed talk you just did on.
I hope I'm making sense and not just babbling.
Well, I think it brings reality as we talk. This show is called Ground Zero. You certainly brought us to Ground Zero on many areas that the Walking Dead of our world are oblivious. And so I want to try to balance many of the things Drew said with some solutions. I think first people have to understand the problem, and the problem is you're a prisoner of war legally, and by the laws of Lucifer, you have been sent to the dominion of the devil. Why? Well, that's a whole nother subject. You can watch my other shows for the reasons behind the angelic rebellion and what this is all about, the angel wars. But nevertheless, in Lucifer's prison, the devil has one card to play. That's revenge. The only card that he knows that he could hurt Jesus the Father or Father God. The only thing that would hurt Jesus is when he hurts the children of God, both the prodigals and the angels, because God loves us. Jesus loves us. And Lucifer can't hurt Jesus, but he can hurt the children of God if legally he has legal authority to do so. And everything Drew has talked about is because we have nothing new under the sun. We have followed in the way of Balaam and followed after the doctrines of the world, and we have abandoned the doctrines and divine law of our scriptures. Now, there's people that go to church and they think they're doing so well, but they are just being beguiled and deceived by another institution cleverly designed by the wolves in sheep clothes, and that they think they have fire insurance, but in fact, religion today, Christianity today, is just another institution that will send you to hell. I mean, this is a level of hell. It is not the final judgment. So if you're here and you still can breathe, you have hope. You actually have hope even in this hell domain that Drew described. And I'm gonna get to that. That hope is this: you're as Drew said, your bodies are designed. You are an incredible, beyond comprehension design of vast intelligence. We call it the consciousness of the Creator, and that design foreknew this time would come. It foreknew the machinations of the demonic that would try to destroy the temple of the living God, which is your body. Okay, that temple is under attack from all assaults, from the outer court, which is your external interface to this world. The inner court, which is your mind, consciousness, and soul, is under attack. And your core being, your Holy of Holies, which has firewall up around it because it's hard to breach that one. But people are allowing that to happen too. All of the phones, 2.4 gigahertz, and now the 5 and 6 and 10 gigahertz, these frequencies are designed. Now they won't breach your Holy of Holies, because that's another scalar frequency outside time-space. But they will harm your physical body, your biological computer, your vessel that you are residing in temporarily as a prison suit. Yeah, you're under vast attack. So what is the solution? Well, the first solution is to break the spell, get the veil off your mind, because as many have watched the movie The Matrix, or David Icke often speaks about, the world is a illusion in a sense, but that illusion is real as long as you've taken the blue pill in a sense, or if you're fat, dumb, and happy and plugged into the Matrix, as Morpheus told Neo, at any moment a sentient program can occupy you. Well, that was code word for a demon, okay? And if you allow a sentient demon to occupy your inner court, well, that demon is going to beguile you, make you think its thoughts are your thoughts, make you think it's going to hive mind you and connect you in a hive manner into the collective, and that will be your ultimate destruction. And in that way, Father God is in much agony and sorrow for his children that are being absolutely destroyed and suffering. Now, they still can get redemption and eternally, but that's a whole nother thing. They're going to be twice dead, is what Scripture says. They're going to die twice. They're going to die in the flesh, and then they're going to die in eternity. And you don't want that. But sadly, the majority of souls on this planet and throughout all time, in the cycles we talk about on the shows, there's been 7 cycles of 25,000 to 20 years, and a lot of time in between. But in all those cycles, the bigger plan is to incarnate all of the vessels, all of the fallen angels of rebellion, and all of the prodigals to learn and go through spiritual boot camp. The prodigals will make it. Drew, you don't have anything to worry about. You're a prodigal, and you're going to make it. Even if you're going to make it. But most people are not prodigals. You guys are the angels. You guys may not make it. You're incarnated one time in one of the cycles, and if you don't wake up and love truth and love Jesus Christ, and then allow the Spirit of God in you to heal your body, your faith to heal and protect yourself with unseen energy vibrations of God's firewalls. All of this stuff Drew says are for those that are compromised, those that are mentally and spiritually vulnerable, because they have given legal authority to the devil to breach their firewalls, to break down their holy code with viral code of demonic design. This is a nefarious system. So, solutions. What can you do for your health? Again, disclaimer, I'm not telling you to do anything. This is what I do, and I believe it helps. Helps with everything that Drew talked about. Every day, take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a micro pinch of pharmaceutical boron, or you can use borax, but I'm talking a 1/16 of a teaspoon. Mix the boron and apple cider vinegar in at least 6 to 8 ounces of water, and I use warm water. I mean, borax will kill ants if you take too much, so be careful here. But a tablespoon of
is boron. What is the
what's that?
What is boron? What is the I know it's a element, obviously, and it's an element. What does it do? Like do we get that in our multiple vitamins? Do we get that? Like what foods can we find that in?
Well, there was a time everybody has heard eat an apple a day and the doctor stays away, because boron used to be in apples. Well, of course, the controllers figured that out, and your apples no longer have hardly any boron. You used to be able to get it in your soils and potatoes, but again, they knew about this. So that's answer number one. Answer two, boron is a elementary periodic table element. What it does in our bodies, my understanding, this disclaimer, it's my opinion, is it kills fungus. And fungus is, my understanding again, Dr. Doug Kaufman, I believe, he says fungus is a primary viral code of nefarious origin that actually causes many cancers. So boron attacks the fungus at the core. And most of our illnesses are caused by fungus, at least at the biological level. So the tablespoon apple cider vinegar and a micro pinch of boron, I add myself, that's all you need right there. I add a half squeeze real lemon into the mix. And I also add some iodine drops. But you do that twice a day. Right after I do that, because the apple cider vinegar is acidic, and it will eat through your tooth enamel if you don't get it off quickly.
Buffer.
Yeah. So what I do right after that, I take a small, pinky size amount of baking soda in a shot glass, and I actually, sometimes add 10 drops of food-grade hydrogen peroxide to oxygenate the blood. But it's the baking soda, and swish it in your mouth to get rid of the acidic apple cider vinegar on your tooth enamel. And so that also helps alkaline your body. If you do that, those two things, it'll greatly improve your health. But the third thing actually is the most important, and this is the work of Dr. Kruse, K-R-U-S-E, Dr. Jack Kruse. He's not a Christian, but he's on to something. He claims that all of the nutrition and exercise is less than 1/3 of the health equation. He says close to 99% of all diseases are caused by blue light toxicity. And that's why you'll see myself and many wear these blue light blockers. I should be wearing them tonight. But in any case, so the other part of this equation, get Dr. Kruse's book on Amazon. I think it's called Paleo RX, something like that. But in a nutshell, every day, he says if you got morning sunshine into your eye gate every day, morning sunshine, you would probably never get sick. That's what he says. Now, the problem is you also have to, at night, 4 hours before you go to bed, wear your blue blocks. And don't look at your phone unless you got blue blocks on, because if you look at anything emanating intense levels of blue light, it resets your circadian clock to make you think it's morning again, and you won't sleep well. Your computer can't heal itself, can't do all the things you're supposed to do. So those that are not actually human, the aliens that take human form that run this prison for Lucifer, have thought of everything. They're killing us with the blue light. Your body can't even have a chance to heal itself. They've taken all the biological elements like boron out of our diets, and so people just don't have a chance. But you do have a chance if you do a few of the things we said. Of course, the third element, besides the biological, the apple cider plus boron, besides the quantum photonic aspects of getting rid of the blue light, you also have to have the spiritual balance. Get in your Bible, pray to Jesus Christ, repent. Those three, mind, body, soul, spirit, those three elements can, in fact, on an individual basis, allow you to walk through the valley of the damned and have the shadow of the Most High to protect you. Over to you, Drew.
Beautifully said. So I'm looking up here on boron, and it says mostly, and you know, that it is a mineral found in food and the environment. People take boron supplement as medicine. Boron is used for building strong bones, treating osteoarthritis, and an aid for building muscles, increasing testosterone levels. And of course, there's things in there that, I mean, and again, the name of the game is deception. So
the main thing they're not saying there is it destroys fungus. They don't want you to know that. You cannot go to the doctor. You can get an antibiotic bacteria, but you can't get an antifungal. The doctors won't give it to you. And 9 out of 10 times it's a fungal issue and not a bacterial issue. And
you know that oil of oregano is antifungal as well.
So is garlic, right?
Antifungal, antiviral. Yeah. So these elements in nature, and I truly believe that everything that we have here is, and I think Professor Truth will agree with me, that we have everything that we need here for us to be able to thrive in health. The artificial light, even if if you're sitting there and when you're driving and the sun's coming through the glass and you see if your arm feels warm, but it's not going to get sunburned because the glass is refracting the light and it's breaking up the spectrum of ultraviolet light. That too is unnatural because glass is unnatural, and you will get the opposite effect on your body if you are just like when we wear sunglasses, we are blocking the ultraviolet light, so we're not getting natural light into our eyes, and that's causing the reverse of our glandulars, like the pineal, the all the different glands that are behind our head and our neck. We're not getting that because we're blocking it, and it creates the antithesis of that.
Let me add one more thing, Drew, that I forgot to mention in the health equation. Water. If you're an alien hybrid that hates God's creation, how would you very deceptively hide but do a soft kill on a mass scale? You'd put something in the water, right? So everybody go to H2O Labs, and get yourself a water distiller. Don't freak out by all the fears about distilled water doesn't have minerals. Well, that's right, it doesn't. But guess what? Rainwater is distilled water. What you got to do, make your own water and then add real pink Himalayan or real sea salt to the water to get back your natural, nature-made minerals, okay? Make your own water. I can't emphasize that enough. Stop drinking bottled water. The chemicals and the plastic are destroying you. The water itself has some kind of alien virus in it that's killing you. I guarantee it.
Well, not to mention the glyphosate that they've sprayed in abundance all over. No matter where I go over the summer, I would go to a local dog park and just kind of like walk around. And then you see the landscapers come in there, and then you see them, with their thing. They have like this huge dispenser, and they're just spraying. And the thing is that they get paid to take care of the property, to make sure that there's, God forbid, there's a weed that pops up somewhere, right? Oh my God, the weeds, right? They just keep spraying it, and they spray it. Sometimes they just go out there, but let's go out there and spray some Roundup. These people have no idea the danger and the damage and the toxicity of that crap. So it's in there. And of course, there's a dog park, and the children are playing there. Everybody's getting exposed to this. The groundwater has that. Not to mention the fluoride and all the other nasty, which could be radioactive in addition to the other things. It's in there as well. And so, the distilling, like what I do is I grab distilled water, I get distilled water, and then I filter even the distilled water. And I think I'm going to get one of these H2O labs that PT was saying. I filter my water at least a couple times. And then the pink Himalayan salt with all the minerals in there. You don't have to put a whole lot in there, but just like a pinch in a certain amount, it's adding the minerals and all these natural things in there that obviously are void from distilled process.
Yeah, and you want to get off the plastics, Drew. You're probably getting distilled water in those plastic jugs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, get off of that because that plastic is leaching stuff too. Everybody get yourself a water distiller by H2O Labs and make your own water. I do it every day. The other thing I wanted to mention is the food is killing you. You know, have you look at everybody walking around? They look like they're bloated. They look like they're just absolutely bloated. And you know what? They are, because these, like Chick-fil-A, I love Chick-fil-A, but I had to discipline myself. I think they're almost like putting some kind of addictive chemical in these foods, but the fats that they're cooking these foods in, they've got something in them. They've done this by design. There's something in them that's bloating the population. We're 3 times heavier than we should be. And then it's hard to lose weight, because if you eat Chick-fil-A, I'm not picking on Chick-fil-A, just any place. If you eat any of this processed food 1 time a week, it'll set everything off so much you can't recover. It takes you, Dr. Cruz says, if you look at, if you have, like, what did he say? A pizza. I love pizza and beer once in a while, so I keep breaking my rule. But if you have pizza and beer 1 time, it sets you back 2 weeks on resetting your leptin receptors and the blue light toxicity. But the food is killing us, folks. My gosh, the food and water is how they're killing us.
That's the only thing that, I mean, honestly, and we're driven by, obviously, you know, we get hungry, we want to eat, right? We want to eat something good, we want to enjoy a good meal, right? You know, over the summer, you know, 6 months there where I was like, you know, I was really just in tune. I was, you know, eating apples, bananas, things like that. Now I'm kind of, you know, I'm working more now. And so you know, I'll go and I'll get like a bagel and egg and, you know, with egg and cheese and everything. So I'm eating more wheat, which I definitely have a wheat allergy. I don't eat it and it doesn't like wreck me or make me sick, but it has a cumulative effect because I do have an allergy. It weakens me, you know, through kinesiology. So, yeah, we just have to be kind of mindful of what we're eating. You know, people just don't even care. I mean, these younger people, they will just eat anything at all. And I remember myself, when I was young, it was like, you know, like, well, whatever, you know, what's for lunch? You know, McDonald's or something. Or now, luckily, over the last, you know, 15 years or so, 15, 16 years, being aware of this, the toxicity of the fast food, you know, thank God I've had the ability to be able to, you know, afford better food. But now we're even looking at, because Bezos and his goons, you know, purchased Whole Foods. Now we don't really even know whether the GMO is actually, you know, GMO free. So it's, and of course, the problem is that there's not enough people that really, really want to change, and they'll be unified hating a president. You can, like, we see that now. They can be unified by television and the news and the MSNBCs and the CNN and all these other. They'll tell you who you're supposed to hate, and the fool will hate. Okay. This world has us hating those who are being oppressed and has us loving those who are doing the oppressing. Okay. And that was something that was said by Malcolm X when he figured out. Now, I don't know what his, I just saw some of his quotes, but that was one of the things he said. The media will have you hating those who are being oppressed and loving those who are doing the oppressing. And that's what we have in this world today. Now, I'm not saying Trump is like a great guy or anything like that. Okay. People need to stop just hating Trump. They need to not condone the entire system. They have to understand that these people are all banker puppets. Barack Obama banker puppet, George W. Bush, and his father, banker puppets. They do what they're told. They're put in there because they will do what they're told. And part of what they're told is to sell lies to the people, to the goyim of the nation, of their nation, of their crown corporation creation, to get people to buy into wars and to buy into their fake religion, their Luciferian indoctrination camps, like the Vatican and, their Catholic Church, the Presbyterians, and all these networks that just funnel money up into the beast's mouth. Just seeing things. I've been exposed to, we have different schools now, right? We've got the public school, we've got Catholic schools, we've got the charter schools and everything. There's all these different options now, if you will, that people, and there's no doubt these are markets that are created so that people make money off your children. And then I've been in one or two of these places, and then you see there's you see a little stuffed Pope, a little stuffed Pope, like a bear, like a stuffed bear, but it's the Pope, and it's like, why are we worshiping this? This is a sin. It's absolutely sinful for anyone to say, and this is from my layman exposure, for someone to walk around and say that they are the what is that when they say that they're Christ the incarnate, right? Isn't that what the Pope is supposed to be? It's just, you know what I mean? And I'm not like super like hardcore on it, but that's wrong. He comes to a city and everybody's like, oh God. And like, wow, man, how can you not see that this is an absolute flim flam screw job is beyond my comprehension. The indoctrination of the children. Yikes. So that was great information. Let's see if I can find some boron now, but I'm also on that H2O Labs. So which you have a particular model, and we're not selling anything here. We're just talking about what works for us. And I'm glad that Professor Truth said that, because I didn't know that there were these, apparently these very affordable distillers. You have one, obviously?
Yeah, I recommend the best one they have, which is a stainless steel model. It may be on sale for about $200. But yeah, get the stainless steel one with the glass Sherry. Start using all glass, everybody, for your water. Don't use plastic jugs or plastic anything.
$250.
Is it $250?
That's what I'm saying.
I think it's normally $300. Yeah, it says sale, right?
It does, yeah, on sale for $249. Yeah.
Grab one of those, folks.
So what is it? How does it work? Just so people can.
Okay, so
because people are very lazy, and then they're like, do I have to press a button, or do I need to unscrew a cap or something? Because forget it.
Yeah, you have to fill it. What I do, I fill the glass container with tap water, and I pour that into the stainless steel distiller. And you turn it on, you push a button, and then it runs for about 4 or 5 hours, and it boils the water, turns it into a vapor, and then recondenses just pure water out of the machine. And when you look inside of it, all the yellow, sticky gunk that you thought was you didn't even know was in your tap water is in the bottom of this thing. And that's what's going in to clog your brain, clog your arteries, and everything else. And after about a week or two, you just take some white vinegar and you put it in it and you let it soak for a couple hours, and you clean up all that yellow goop in it, and then you do it again.
So if you were to put just regular distilled water in there, right? It would be even more like, it would get rid of whatever, if there were possibly impurities in this distilled water. So I guess what I'm saying is, you could eliminate the need for even using
a filter,
spigot water. You know what I mean? Like municipally treated water, where you could probably get something a little bit more pure, and then you would even have a more pure.
Well, you could, Drew, but I don't think you need to, because it's basically boiling it into H2O molecules.
So it's getting rid of fluoride. It's getting rid of
everything in there that doesn't evaporate at 212 degrees. Now, who knows? Maybe they've come up with something that will also evaporate at 212 degrees. I'm not aware of that. Usually the man-made and nefarious chemicals have a higher evaporation point, gaseous point. So it's my understanding that this is pure H2O, and you could put any water source into it. Now, what's interesting, some folks I know said they put, I'm going to mention the name, they put bottled water in there, and there's yellow gunk coming out of the bottled water. So filters are not sufficient anymore for this nanotechnology that the aliens have given mankind to kill you. But the H2O lab evaporator will give you pure water. But now you do have to add minerals back, and that's why I say I've got that sea salt, and I have a little salt grinder, and I make a little batch of it, and I put a little bit of salt in it. And you're good to go. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I'm definitely interested. My interest is definitely piqued.
It'll change your life. And here's another thing that distilled water does. Water out of nature is 5 atoms per molecule. That's called penta. And it's 5 atoms has a certain size, a certain circular size, and it turns out nature's water, or distilled water, they also call this microclustered water because it has 5 atoms per molecule, can actually hydrate your cells because it's the right, of course, nature's water is the right size to go through your microtubules of your cells. They're, got to get through that pipe. It turns out 6 atoms per molecule of water that's been treated or has been processed. When you drink a bottle of water that you buy, you only get 10% hydration because 90% the molecules are too big to hydrate your cells in the first place. So another thing distilled water does, it gets the right microclustered size of the atoms, so you get almost full hydration. In addition, if that wasn't good enough, the reason tap water and others have 6 atoms is because the isotopic nature of the charge of water, it is negative in general. It's looking for something to attach to. And so processed water has attached to either calcium or something to give it the additional size. But pure H2O lab distilled water has a negative charge. And if you drink it, you should drink some of this without the minerals, because it'll go through your body and pull out the toxins. Its negative charge will pull out the toxins that's stored in your fat primarily, and it'll cleanse you. It'll detox you. Distilled water will detox you. It's awesome.
So yeah, I heard some negative things, like they're saying that it pulls out the minerals and things, right? But I mean, obviously, if it has a negative charge, then it's gonna connect and attract positively charged things, and the positively charged things are free radicals.
Basically, that's true. But don't let this stuff, remember, these are half-truths. They tell you, it's going to pull out the minerals. Yeah, it's going to pull out the man-made minerals with the left-hand spin electromagnetic spectrum to them that they've made. Guess what? God's bigger than that. His right-hand spin electromagnetic natural minerals, it doesn't touch. Okay, so yeah, it'll pull out the bad minerals, and they give you half-truths, as you know, Drew.
Well, that's good. I mean, now, because I used to think that I was drinking distilled and it was pulling good things out. Well, we know if you drink Pepsi or you drink Coke or you drink a lot of these things, it's got the the phosphoric acid and everything in there, and that leaches you for sure. And that's why they push it like it's you should drink soda like water, And then of course, then the cities come in and say, soda tax because they know that they can get money off of you. And then they're like, oh, you're going to drink a smaller soda, and then what is that? There's a picture of a guy saying, soda tax. And then not only does he have the one soda in his right hand, but he also has another soda in his left hand. So he's still going to get his, he's going to get his, his drink on of the things that we shouldn't really be drinking at all.
You want to get off all the processed sugars, especially the high fructose corn syrup in these sodas.
I mean, it was weird. Like when I flew over the summer and I was on the flight and they were like, do you want something to drink? And I'm like, so I went for, ginger ale or something like that, but still even that. And it, obviously it tasted good, but then I'm like, God, I hadn't had a soda in such a long time. And it's not like I started drinking a lot of sodas because as soon as I got to, Utah, as soon as I got to California, I was like, Whole Foods, let me get some bananas, let me get some apples. So I've been eating pretty good. And, we should all really honestly think about the things that you should think about are, is this good for me when I'm eating? Okay. And if it costs a little bit more, then so be it. But what people think about first and foremost is, how does it taste? How much does it cost? That's all they want. They don't care. It could be like artificially, they could take a pile of a horse dung and put some, put some chocolate syrup on it. It doesn't make it a sundae, guys. It's, just a lot of just hocus pocus out there that, and just recently I heard an interview with a woman that's on YouTube. She has a YouTube channel, and they're talking about how they are modifying like food to a point, not only the GMO, but they're doing things with it like to make, I think it's like the second generation of flavor enhancement. Like before we had the monosodium glutamate and all these other things. Now what they're doing is they're creating, and if you want to hear the conversation, it's over at if you go to anchor.fm, anchor.fm, and you look for In Case You Missed It, you'll see. And like one of the most recent episodes was as I uploaded that one. It's called Biotech is Creating Replacement Food as Healthy Options. And the example of that is this new Burger King, the Impossible Burger. So this woman has done incredible research, godlike research to inform people that biotech, big ag, is creating these things to make, to modify the texture of how this feels or how this tastes, or, so that they can feed people. I think I've been hearing there's so much on YouTube about embryonic, like they're feeding people, other people or other living things. They're feeding people like in the Matrix. And then when it just kind of clicked with me, when Morpheus said, they grinded up the dead to then be able to feed the people that were inside these wombs. Like the Matrix means womb. If you define it, it's womb. And that's where Neo was. And they were feeding him as a baby, the ground up. Soylent Green, if you will. Soylent Green is people. They're trying to feed you people. You're eating people. We're cannibals. They're destroying God's creation in every single way that they can. They're bastardizing everything. And it's not by accident. It's not just done for money. It's done on purpose to bastardize.